Welcome to Get Tied On, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Tom Amello. He's Michael Kipnis, the Wizard. Lots to talk about in this pre-Travers post-Alabama week as we round down this Saratoga meeting. Michael, you just finished an interview with Steven Chower, a guy who has arrived at Saratoga with live horses and is causing a bit of a stir with his win percentage. But you spent some time with him. I don't know how long the interview went, but why don't you share with the audience your experience with this, not young, he's been in the game a long time, with Steven Chower.
It was one of the most fascinating interviews I've ever done and will ever do. We were very candid with one another. You know, a lot of finger pointing has gone on, social media. He's been the flavor of the week to people going after that he's a juicer and all that. We carefully go through his career and his business model and his partner. And we couldn't have been any more honest and detailed about this rise in his career. We break down some of the horses he ran last week. Georgia Magic, the two won a race on the first and third race, I think on Wednesday or Thursday. It all makes sense to me. It's a must watch. Look, he was the flavor of the week. Ray Handel should be the flavor of the week too, if you want to point fingers, which I don't want to do, but he won 4 races. He had a great week, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Linda Rice a week ago couldn't lose a race. David Jacobson.
And then there's the innuendos from the day when Linda scratched a bunch of her horses. You would talk to her.
Twitter has become a disgusting thing. I mean, there's some good people that give you good information, but my God, to attack people, to attack other people that aren't trainers in the game with the vile shit that they throw out is absolutely disgusting. I mean, this is a society that has to be that you're innocent until proven guilty. And these people hide behind their words and spew this nonsense and garbage. It's absolutely, we've reached a low and it's disgusting. But anyway, the Linda Rice, the phone is going off the hook. I'm getting texts and calls. The feds are raiding Linda Rice's barn. Some moron, stupid idiot on Twitter posts something like that, and it goes viral. And I'm sitting next to David Grenig, and I go, what? Well, we find out 5 minutes later, it's a bunch of bullshit. She scratched 4 horses. She left one in. I don't know why she scratched or why, who knows what it was. The feds didn't raid her barn. She ran a horse in the stake race who ran a distant second to our friend Larry Doyle's Iron Orchid. And she went on, won a couple races, just all a bunch of hogwash, and enough is enough with this shit. That's all I got to say.
Enough is enough, says the Wiz. What would you say the highlight of your interview with Chower was that people should look forward to?
How his business model, his partner, who's an expert handicapper, trip watcher, bias taker, the scrutiny he's under, what he has to, his horse is being blood tested 40 minutes, 45 minutes out before the race. The cameras on him. I mean, and he hasn't tested positive in all these tests yet. They take hair follicles. Who knows? Back in the day, I was wrong about Jason Service, like at the beginning. I didn't know. And then I was wrong. He's a big juicer. You never know in this game who's going to rise to that level. But man, this guy makes a lot of sense, and he's under scrutiny constantly. I found his honesty very interesting, because I asked him some hard questions. I had evidence I had stats. I did my homework. He stood there and he took it all and he answered it all. Beautiful.
Well, that's good to know, and it'll be an interesting watch for your fans. The Linda Rice innuendos that's been founded in events going back to the racing office debacle for her. She spent an awful lot of money and an awful lot of time defending herself from that, and that was adjudicated. Let's move to the next, I'm not going to say black eye, but blemish on I think it was Sunday. Wrong jock, unnamed jock riding, or new name jock riding for Miguel Clement. It turns out he had two horses in the race, so this was the one not taking any money. Every publication had Ricardo Santana Jr. in the irons, and when and when the dust cleared and they pulled into the winner's circle, poof! Javier Castellano is revealed, and I don't know if it was a reveal or if I'm just over.
I rode the horse, Tom. I was switched to the Wizard. I was the one that rode the horse.
You didn't get to the winner's circle, did you?
No, I was in the ambulance. They carted me away.
Our friend Andrew Champagne, he's a hardworking guy. He's a digger. He looked everywhere. Everywhere there was a listing for a rider in this race. Equibase, Daily Racing Form, Bristnet, everywhere. It says Ricardo Santana Jr., but it's Javier Castellano. If Santana rode the horse, but it was the wrong horse, there'd be some real fireworks.
Well, Tom,
go ahead.
Tom, you're mistaken. Everyone's mistaken. It was Santana wearing a Castellano mask.
Why didn't I think of that?
That was it. He's getting ready for Halloween. He wants to be Santana's going to be going trick or treating.
But there's been not a word from Naira, and who knows if the stewards are going to address it in any way, shape, or form in their weekly confession to Andy Serling.
They should go to confession at the church and sit there and do confession. Hey, Tom, at the minimum, this buffoonery somebody should have discovered it in the people that run the game, the daily game at the New York Racing Association, and declare the horse as no betting, like let the horse run.
Yeah, absolutely.
Personally, they fucked up, messed up. That's what they should do, period. And they didn't do it. They didn't even know. They were worried about how many lawn jockeys they were giving out on giveaway day.
But it goes back to running the race at the wrong distance. Are you telling me that nobody, when you move the gate and the guys get on the horse, you tell me nobody knew which distance they were going to run, and nobody raised a hand from the back of the saddle to go, excuse me? And I'm saying, you're telling me these guys don't know whose name to ride when they're getting in the gate? Didn't somebody go, Javi, what are you doing here? I don't know who was in that stall.
Right,
Javi,
right.
What are you doing here?
I think the reason for this, like the buffoonery this meet between the stewards, between the management. It's just 2 months and it's worn them down. And I mean, and I'm saying that facetiously. I think it's idiotic. It's nuts. If they had to run a real business when this shit went on, there'd be no business. So let's leave it at that. What can we say?
All right.
There's nothing to say.
Well, why don't we stay with this theme and talk about the objection and inquiry and non-DQ of the week?
Well, it was in the turf race, and it was the Mark Cassidy wire-to-wire winner. And what was the name of that horse? And that time, and this time, something like that. Now, Castellano was on that horse too, not Santana.
He was supposed to be on that horse.
Maybe it was. It didn't look like Santana. It was Castellano. Now, look, I've tried to be really kind and considerate and understanding.
And I think you should stay that way.
Yes, but I can't. Okay, not on this one. If they take Coach of the Year down a few weeks back, and they leave this up, where Castellano, the Hall of Fame rider that he is, that loves to ride Santana horses, by the way, he drifts out 5 pads purposely. You could see if you look at his left hand, if you look at the way he's holding the reins, me and the Equibase guys froze the frames down to like every single move. It's obvious he herded the German horse.
Right.
5 pads out, right? Purposely, intentionally. Now, it also affected the Chad Brown favorite that wasn't going to win, but Pratt had a steady in check, right? It was, and now Castellano sees the 3-horse coming up the rail where you could have drove an 18-wheel Mack truck through, and he switches and he comes and straightens him out so the horse could see the horse on the inside. So he took care of the outside. He rode like Cordero did in the 70s and 80s, but he did it more blatant than what Cordero did. Like, to leave that horse up is an utter disgrace.
Here's my question, Michael. Now, I don't know if it's just the NBC coverage or, big race coverage, but I've seen the lanes superimposed when horses drift out in the stretch. They've superimposed the lane that each one has, the straight line that they own. And I'm curious, either Naira doesn't own the graphics, or they don't want to compromise or embarrass the stewards by superimposing the lanes. Because if you saw the lanes, he started on the Parkway and ended up in the East River, right? He drifted out to the west, from the West Side Highway to the river.
Look. If you're watching the race, the stewards are watching the race. They have all the camera angles. At least it was a jockey's claim of foul before the stewards chimed in. The jockeys are part of a fraternity in a room, okay? Of course, the jockey's going to claim the foul, but the stewards see there's something that happens. He goes 5 lanes out, right? Post the inquiry, right? But before the jockey, just posted to review it because it was obvious for any, Ray Charles could have seen that. Ray Charles could have seen
Michael, that. We've had this conversation before. I'm of the belief that when the jockeys make an objection, the stewards are angry that they got to look. Now we got to look. Um, I'm not sure. They go, what did we miss? Did we miss something? But I'm sure, they're not happy that they didn't see enough or weren't aware enough to hit the inquiry button when a jockey makes an objection. Now, sometimes, it's given that sometimes jockey objections are frivolous. I'll give them that. But again, if you're watching this head on, you see them go out to right field. And so you got to put
like I said, if Ray Charles was watching the race, he would have claimed the objection. I mean, look, all we ask for in this game is consistency.
Absolutely.
But I don't know if they know what consistency is. I don't even know if they know what the word consistency means. Mm-hmm. I don't know if they know. I don't even know what the rules are. It's too clouded. I don't even know what to say. I don't want to go on anymore because they'll kick me off the track, and we don't want that to happen. But but please, but please, I mean, come on.
Let's talk briefly about the upset and whether or not it was, the upset it was in the Alabama.
Look, you handicap the race. County Stars is supposed to win that race. The whole thing, like horses don't run a mile and a quarter in America very much, right? So that last eighth of a mile is foreign territory you'll see it in the Travers. You saw it in the Alabama. The Chad Brown horse was the now horse that handled the distance. And look, it was hard to predict. You can make a case for that horse if the favorite didn't, like the last eighth of a mile. But going into the race, she was so dominant, and she had, foundation. But look, that's racing now in the modern day. You're not bred for the distance. They don't breed for the distance. And horses don't get the opportunity to run very much at the distance. And these things will happen, and it happened.
Before we go to talk about the upcoming Travers, I think you should talk a little bit about Larry's horse, Iron Orphan, the New York bred, winning the Albany.
Well, one of my closest friends, Larry Doyle, who owns Katie Rich Farm, paid a lot of money for Iron Orchid after the Grade 1 Frizette. It went into the Breeders' Cup. It stumbled at the start, losing all chance. Switched to Steve Asmussen, who gave her time. Used 2 sprint races in open company to sharpen up her speed. And the whole plan was the Fleet Indian. The question was, again, can she get the distance? And she proved emphatically that she had no problem handling a mile and an eighth. And she won for fun by 12. She's going in the cotillion. She'll have to face Chad Brown's other horse, always a runner. But Iron Orchid is a wild card. She's always had quality. She's good. And even if she doesn't win the cotillion, if she gets stakes place in a great,
right? Is that at Parks?
That's at Parks, right? That's the fun. That's a win and you're in. That's the final big race for these 3-year-old fillies. It couldn't happen to a better man. I was right there with him by his side in the winner's circle. It was a great day of racing for him and for all of us.
All right. Let's switch to the upcoming Travers Stakes. We've got a field of of 10 at this point, with some old shooters coming back, a couple of new shooters, and the maiden's back.
Yeah, yeah. A maiden that's won about what 700 and something thousand dollars.
Yeah, nice chunk of
Oh,
change.
no, I'm sorry, 842. I think they're afraid to run in a maiden special weight race till he is, the horse would be 1 to 100, and and he's really a good horse.
Michael, I know you haven't delved into the race with any intensity, but just let's kind of waltz through the field and initial comments. We're going a mile and a quarter. It'll be near dark when we when they go to post. There's only 14 on Saturday. Emerging market from Trad Brown.
I mean, the horse has been a bit disappointing. Brown is making a necessary rider change, according to him, to our man Santana. And then Santana will be replaced by Castellano at the half-mile pole. They're gonna airlift him from the sky and airlift Santana off and put Castellano on.
Okay, yeah, Brad. The 2 is from Brad Cox, Indiana Derby winner, leading change.
Doesn't have the foundation. The win last time, mile and a 16 against far weaker. I mean, this is obviously a much tougher task.
Mm-hmm. You can't argue with how Chad Summers has managed Napoleon Solo, and Johnny V gets the ride here, and this Hall of Famer is as good as anybody with a front runner, and Napoleon Solo certainly has speed. She ran her heart out, or he ran his heart out in the Haskell, only to lose to Baby Vino up the inside. Does the layoff to the Haskell and now the Travers fit this horse at this point?
Well, I think it's, does the distance fit this horse? And, how good is he really? I mean, the Preakness, wasn't a great race. His effort in the Haskell was good, and he lost to a horse that was, like ridiculous price. What was he like? 28 to 1. We'll see what kind of stuff he has in the final eighth of a mile. Chad Summers' meet is one he wants to forget.
Yeah. On the duck.
Him and Rudy Rodriguez are not having a especially very good meet.
Not at all.
But they all get healthy. They all eat at some point during the meet.
That's my uncle's line. They all got to eat.
That's why I know
got to eat.
I know Uncle Guido.
No, Uncle Iggy.
Uncle Iggy.
Ignazio. Rest his soul. Hey, look, the sneaker horse is back. The Puma.
Yeah, the Puma ran in that Haskell. Didn't particularly handle the slop very well. It was off a layoff. He's been here since early August. His race in the Florida Derby was good. The question is, does he have the foundation to get a mile and a quarter?
Well, he's got 16 furlongs of work in 15 days.
Yeah. We'll see.
That's covering ground.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Oh, Castellano's listed on it. I thought it was Franco. I mean, not Franco. I thought it was Santana. Maybe they'll switch for the race.
You think Castellano and Santana do paper, rock, scissors in the jocks room for horses? Let's go to the 5. Renegade finished like a runaway train in the Jim Dandy, mile and an eighth. He was a neck behind Golden Tempo in the Derby, finishing like the runaway train. He is. he's been the distance and been good at the distance. Coming
If he
from the
gets
cloud.
if he gets the pace and he's widest of all turning for home, he can win. If he's between horses, he's not going to win. He wants to be free and clear of trouble on the outside. Irad knows this horse to perfection. Now he's got to get Gaffleone because Irad
he's
is
got to run 1.25 miles and an extra half a mile. Right.
So, look,
and he
capable.
loses Irad. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, certainly he's a major player. He just needs that ride and trip.
We had that day had an interesting interview with Beckman, and I know you've talked with him on several occasions about Oselli. He's having a good meet. He's certainly a talented young trainer. He's still a maiden, and as you pointed out, near 900,000.
Yeah, look, the race at the Haskell was a complete throwout. I mean, he didn't handle the slop at all. And Beckman didn't think he handled the slop as he was walking to the paddock to get saddled. His other races, they're good. They're good. I mean, it wouldn't be a shock.
Oh, it might not be a shock, but it will be. It could be a shock. It's amazing. Come on.
Yeah, well, he got beat a length in the Derby. He ran, he ran fair in the didn't run great in the Preakness. He's look, he's certainly a horse. Maybe he doesn't win the race, but maybe he gets a piece at a price. He's training well at Saratoga. He's training well.
That's right. Sea Strike, the Curlin winner, dusted a bunch. I'm not going to say it was a great bunch, but he put Chief Wallaby back into the barn, right?
Yeah. This is the horse that's going to be the over bet because of that win. This is the horse a lot of people are going to glom to. We've seen this record before.
Big figure, earned a big figure.
We've seen this record before. Horses out of the Curlin, these types of horses. Yes, he can win this race. Maybe he's good. What happened in May doesn't transfer always to August. Like horses change. Maybe this horse we saw it with in the Alabama with Chad Brown's horse. Got good on the right day at the right time. This horse is going to stalk and he's going to attack. Let's see what he does in the final eighth. Let's see if he has the foundation in the class to handle that at last eighth of a mile. Certainly a player in here.
We've talked about Baby Vino jumping up at 28-1. I mean, this is a horse that crushed in the Pegasus field, two back as a short priced, probably second choice. Crushed when offered as a maiden back at Oaklawn Park, looking for its fourth win in a row from trainer Lindsay Schultz, who's yet to win a race here at Saratoga. Paco Lopez is back. How many horses will he ride?
He'll be riding 5 horses like Castellano did and Cordero did back in the day. Baby Vino, those are 2 races at Monmouth. This is a tall task to repeat those efforts here, even with Paco aboard. I think his day was the Haskell. I think this is just a much tougher task.
There's a part of me, Michael, as we go through the field, is a little bit disappointed in the line. I mean, I think some of these horses really should be longer prices. It's a tighter line than I would. And don't get me wrong, I respect David Aragona, but 10-1 on Vino, and even at 12-1 on leading change. I think those are short. I don't know if you agree with me or not, but I think those are short.
Agree.
Okay.
That's all I got to say.
Let's move on to the favorite Golden Tempo. Been sitting in the barn and working, since he came back from the Belmont effort, but he's been here at Saratoga a long time. Sherry DeVoe has been up on his efforts, so he's gonna be in Wilton when the race starts, and then he's already won at 1.25 miles in the Derby. Will certainly be running late, and it's a question of if he'll get there again. Yes, no?
Yes. I mean, he's a true 1.25 mile horse. There's no doubting that. If he gets the pace set up and he's working well, there's no reason to believe he can't win again. I mean, what's his morning line?
5-2. I don't think that's bad.
No, that's not bad. What is C Strike? 5, 6?
C Strike is 5-1. Yeah.
Okay. What is Renegade 3?
Renegade is 3.
Okay.
Good call.
Yeah. I mean, I can make a line.
I didn't say you couldn't. That's why I asked you. That's why I asked
I'll
you
give you
if you thought of the other one, huh?
Leading change, I'd make. What did he have him? 10?
Say it again.
Leading change, he got him 10.
Leading change, he has him 12.
That's okay. 12 is okay.
Really? I think that's short. I think that's short.
But Brad Cox, okay, 15. Okay, that you're not.
Yeah, I'd go there.
Maybe 15. What's the other one? What's Napoleon Solo?
Napoleon Solo is 8. I think that's fair.
That's fair.
Yeah, I don't think he should be.
What's Baby Vino?
I don't think he should be 5 or 6.
What's Baby Vino?
10.
You know why he's making it 10? I know his thinking. I know Aragona's thinking. He ran a big 100 buyer. So
okay.
he's making the line based on the perception.
No, I get that.
In my head, my line is another 15, 20, right?
Yeah.
But I understand why he's making it 10.
Okay.
Because
the big number gets the eyes, and okay, I'll go with that. But
I'll defend.
By the way,
on
I think this is a conversation worth having about the line.
Yeah. No, I talked to him about this. Maybe on the interview, we kind of touched on that.
And Silent Tactic is 10-1. Silent Tactic has some tractability, which he showed in the Jim Dandy. Of course, we're going 10 furlongs, but he's not just a one-run closer.
No, but he's also questionable at the distance. He's got the post is hard. I've never been a believer of this horse, and I don't believe again that he's going to win the Travers.
Okay. So, have you heard anything more on the Marshall Graham kerfuffle that would be worth talking about today?
Just that he's going to have 2 hearings in September. I think the jockey, I think he was banned from the contests, the upcoming contest. Again, like he's in hot water, and Heisa should be held responsible as well. I mean, I think I don't want to go into it. It would take me a show to go into what I really think how I feel about what happened. but it goes deeper. There's a lot of, I want to tell you something. What's troubling to me a lot is Larry had a horse called Twilight something at Ellis yesterday. And the computer bettors are allowed at Ellis, right? And his horse was 5-2 going into the gate. And Wesley Ward had a horse, he was 7-5. She was 7-5, both fillies. Larry bet typical 100. You know, he's just for action. I bet trifectas a couple hundred. And they hit the far turn. He's 5-2, hit the far turn, 3-5. And Wesley Ward's horse goes off at 3-1. And Twilight wins. And he pays 340. And I got screwed in the trifecta payoff as I expected I would be. But I called Larry, and you know, Larry is a very successful businessman. He don't need the money. The 100 was just a token play. And I asked him, Larry, congratulations, you won. And he said to me, Wiz, the win was good, but the stealing of the money in my pocket takes away how I feel about the win. Yep. Somebody put their hands in my pocket and took my money. And that's the problem, that these, you know, Marshall Graham is part of this computer assisted wagering and all the other shit that's done. We have a bigger problem. Like that was thievery. Like, yep. And you know, well, I would have to spend an hour on a show to go through. I just think what's gone on in this industry in the last couple years, it's getting worse. It's not getting better, Tom. It is not getting better.
No.
And
the question, see, if it's being characterized as what we know it is, somebody sticking their hands into your parimutuel account and taking some of your money, it seems to be something that whoever the major authorities are, HISA, Jockey Club, etc., they've got to be asked that question. Well, what is it? Is it thievery, or do you define it as something else? Are you defining it as some sort of handicapping ability, you know, and therefore it's all good? I don't know.
It's really not good. It's really not good, Tom, when you have a small section of the betting population benefiting greatly and every other player, the common man. You know what Kentucky Downs did? Kentucky Downs raised their minimum bet to $5. Yep. Okay. Bad. Oh, just elitist. Horrible. Okay. Now, do you know why you handicapped Friday's card? Pre-Alabama card. It sucks. It stinks. You know why? When did you ever see back-to-back races, 2 12-5 claimers back-to-back and a 16 claimer? Okay. You know why? You know why? The fragmentation of this game has raised its ugly head because you have Charlestown running 4 races, 500,000, 500,000, 750, and $1 million on Friday night, right? So you siphon off horses from New York there. Then you got opening day at Kentucky Downs, Saturday, Travers Day. Yeah. They siphon off the horses from Saratoga here. So you have shit turf races, you have maiden claiming races, first time starter races, cheap claiming. Nobody's working together to stagger, to help. Come on. You know, what about the jockeys? How would you like a jockey riding 11 o'clock at night at Charlestown, $1 million race, and then having to ride in a $500,000 race the next day in Saratoga, going back and forth? I mean, that's a rider. But this is a problem in the game. just look at the Saratoga meet,
Yeah.
especially the last few weeks. Has it been like the old Saratoga?
Well, it's not even close to the recently old Saratoga, let alone the old 24-day Saratoga. Come on.
2 12-5 claimers and a 16 claimer on the Friday. Did you know that? No.
Michael,
wait till you handicap it.
you know, and I mean, it still exists. You know that the last 4 weeks after the Belmont Stakes run on June, first Saturday in June, are opportunities for outfits that don't have the stock to run at Saratoga to eat, if you will. And nowadays, given the price structure, if you will, they can run all year round, including Saratoga.
Yeah.
If you want to call yourself a premier meet, you need to do the things that keep you premier. And they never ran 35. They never ran claimers. 35,000 claimers was the bottom. And they didn't like to do that because they wanted to keep it at 50 back in the day, right? 50K claimers, maiden claimers, same thing, 50 to 35, if you will. And the rest were allowance and stakes races. We don't have those conditions in the book anymore.
Yep. Agreed.
And the other thing, I think I've said it before, you and I, we do the work and look for company works, right? We look at workouts and we look for, so when you're looking at company works, you click on the work for the day and they might say so-and-so was 7th out of 160. And we find the horse that they were working who's got the same time and so on. But 160 horses worked that day at one distance. That doesn't count the rest of the distances and the fact that they've got the Maine and they've got the Oklahoma. And so X number of horses work out every friggin' day here, and we can't get 100 to run. we can't get 100 to run. 500 worked, 100, you can't get 100. Now, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit for effect, but the point is, if you look at the total number of works every day of the week and look at the number of entries, it's near oxymoronic.
Couldn't say it any better. Now you're being the wizard.
Here we go. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for joining us. We've touched a lot of subjects, including the upcoming Travers. Michael, once again, tell folks, at long last, the betting window is available at Daily Racing Form. There are instruction or explanatory videos that are available for folks so that they understand exactly how the new product is framed and what it offers and delivers. So talk about it, and then we'll get out of here for the day.
Yeah, it's finally available at DRF. It's been available at my site at wizardracesports.com. I love the product. You got to see it on the giveaway. I didn't do very well on Saturday, but you got to see it. And I work very hard at it. And, I love the product. So that's all I got to say.
Hey, nobody nails it every day.
But no, I have a short memory. I wake up.
Nobody nails it every day. And this is one of the toughest meets to get into a rhythm. And that's not an excuse or an explanation. That's a fact. And so, and you don't send it in. I mean, that's the bottom line. You don't send it in. And, You may
I
not
don't
be
mail
right.
it
For
in.
the,
I
wait a
don't. I
minute. You
don't
may
mail
not
it
be
in.
right for the entire day, but like everybody else, you're going to be right in certain spots on the day. And
Yeah,
right?
and
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's a game of tough beats, rhythm, money management. It's just this has been a hard meet. It's been a hard meet for not just me, but for everybody. But tomorrow's another day. The sun rises, and there's 10 more and 14 more on Travers Stakes.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you very much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back in a week. By the way, who's your interview for next week?
I'm gonna try to get Bobby Dunham.
Okay. Well, I hope
I
you
have the
do.
I have the wild turkey already.
All right. I'm looking forward to that one. Be well, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. Have a great week.
Take care.